Kia ora koutou and welcome to the Greater Wellington Business Growth and Support Virtual Conference. My name is Angela Caves and I'm the Digital Events Manager with Digital Boost. I've got my collaborating partners from connected.govt on the call with me today. So we've got Janine and Tile who are here to support with your questions and answers. Welcome to those of you who are joining us in the webinar now, and also welcome those who are joining via a live stream. We've got a live stream going through Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. We do encourage you to ask questions throughout the session. We have the Q&A function available for you to use, or you can just simply use the chat function. You'll be able to see and hear us, although we will not be able to see and hear you. This afternoon, we are joined by Jane and Stacey, who are here to talk to us around the Ministry of Social Development Services that are in support of our business community. Welcome, Jane and Stacey. It's lovely to have you with us. Feel free to introduce yourselves and then screen share your presentation. We're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jane Vansler-Price. I'm an advisor in the regional office to the regional commissioner for the Wellington Te Whanganui Atara region. And if you're looking at MSD's region, we actually are not quite in line with the way MSD doesn't set up their regions in line with other government departments. So our region goes up as far as Paikokariki to the Fisherman's Table and out as far as the bottom of the Rimataka Hill. And all the way south to the coast. So within that area, we have 8 service centres: Pororua, Johnsonville, Wellington City, Newtown, Lower Hutt, Wainuiomata, Naina and Upper Hutt. So wherever you are based in Wellington, we have a service centre very near you. Across the region, we work with community groups, other government departments, closely with iwi, with Te Atiawa in Wellington, with Ngāti Toa in Pororua, and also with Pacific groups, particularly in Pororua. So we have really good connections across the region. When people think about MSD, they usually think about benefits, honestly. It's that, you know, people on unemployment, people who are sole parents, those types of things, potentially even pensioners. But actually, we're much more than that. There are 3 major service delivery arms for our business. That is income, housing, and employment. And while it's obviously critical that we ensure New Zealanders in need have the financial resources to manage their family and support themselves, it's equally important that they have a roof over their head. And of course, with the increasing cost of living and the price of housing and price of rents and etc., those are areas of our business that, as you will imagine, have grown increasingly busy over the last couple of years. I come from the private sector, and so for me, the most important aspect of the service we offer is employment, because it's only through employment we can actually substantially change somebody's life. We can actually help them move to be economically independent of MSD. And that, for me, is the goal. Across the Wellington region, we have 15,000 job seekers, and which is considerably more than the number of vacancies listed in the region. So of those job seekers, 9,000 we see as work ready, and over 5,000 of them fit into a category we call HCID, which is health conditions, injuries, disabilities. But those people may be, for instance, recovering from an ACC, recovering from an accident and maybe require part-time work. It might be somebody who has lost their job for the first time in their working career at the beginning of COVID and who is still unemployed because they're depressed and anxious and suffering from the trauma of losing the job in the first place. Or it could be somebody who has a more permanent disability. Maybe they need a special screen because of eyesight issues, or potentially they need to work in a building that has a lift because they're in a wheelchair. So there are a range of I guess a range of people in who are able to work and want to work who fit into that category. And certainly one of the things that we've been working with lately is organisations who have help desk roles that could be done from home, and that's very appealing to some people. Clearly, if you've been out of work for a period of time, retraining is an issue, and we offer as part of our core business in terms of employment, we offer two types of training really. One is more vocational, so it might be things like contact center training or barista, or we work with businesses around mana and mahi to do apprenticeships and trades training. But the other side of it is really what we would call work ready, which is really around helping build confidence and self-esteem and helping people get mentally and emotionally ready for work. Because if you have been out of work for a number of years raising children, for instance, you feel your skills are out of date and you don't know where your transferable skills are, and the job you used to do no longer exists because the market moves on and changes. So in that area, we work with a number of contracted providers, and also with a number of groups such as Women of Worth, Well Fed in Pororua, with Dress for Success. MSD actually has a national memorandum of understanding with Dress for Success, who are a charity, a global charity actually, but in Wellington, they have we're fortunate that they dress men and women in the Wellington region, and they provide clothing for an interview, but also free clothing for an interview. And then when the person gets the job, they provide a whole mix and match wardrobe, which is more important actually for women than it is for men, because men could wear the same thing every day and no one would notice. Whereas we women are very picky and we notice what another woman is wearing. And if they wear the same thing 2 days in a row, we know. So it's that whole, how do they perceive themselves dressed appropriately for work? So, and the reason I specifically mentioned Dress for Success, because their international research has shown that for every one person they help into work, it positively affects the lives of 6 other people. And that's why helping our candidates get into work can be so transforming in a family, can be so transformational in terms of a community. So given the current market and the post-COVID market, if you like, we have a completely different job situation. You know, we do a lot of work with employers around understanding what their current needs are, but we're also interested in knowing what your needs are next year and the year after. What can we be doing in terms of supporting training initiatives and encouraging people into particular programs to prepare the workforce for what is coming in the future? You know, interestingly, I was attending a session with an economist last week, and he made the comment that we can expect to see a lot of people in the late 20s who are skilled people in their late 20s going overseas. In fact, more of an outflow from the country in the next couple of years than an inflow. Basically because people haven't gone on their OE in the last couple of years, and they'll make up for it by going now. And then, of course, Australia is offering higher salaries and a lower cost of living. So, you know, there's a potential for us to lose people. So from an employer's perspective, we need to look at things differently. And I'm very well aware that there is a real cost to bringing in unskilled people and new staff members. I mean, as I said, I come from the private sector. I've owned a business. I've had hundreds of staff responsibilities. So it is a real cost to bring on somebody who is not as skilled as you might have expected or wanted into the market. But in actual fact, the opportunities are there for MSD to provide that financial support to help somebody gain employment. We can help you in terms of training. We can help you in terms of the downtime you may experience from an experienced staff member having to devote more time to help somebody come up to speed. And you know, that can be frustrating, but the way I think about it is, you know, when I come back from holiday, if I've been away for 3 or 4 weeks and I come back to work, my brain just takes a few days or a week to get back up to speed. I'm in holiday mode and you're thinking more slowly, and to actually come to get your energy levels and to get back into full work mode takes a few days. And that's after a few weeks. So imagine what it's like for people who've been unemployed for a couple of years. It is really difficult. During that time, other responsibilities around the family have come in to take up their time. They're now responsible for childcare, or that grandma needs to go to the hospital, so you're the person who takes them or whatever. So that whole transition between not working and employment requires some change of behaviours and change of attitude and changes in their family life as well as within work life. So the financial support we can put behind you is during that, first 6 or 7 months or whatever, can actually really help transition somebody into the stage of usefulness that you will need. So Stacey's going to talk to you a little bit about what we can do financially in terms of supporting you to take some of our candidates. And after she's done that, I'm going to come back and tell you a bit more about what we're doing a little differently around the region. Thanks. Stace.
Thank you, Jane. Good afternoon. I'm Stacey and I'm one of the work brokers here in the Wellington region. In our session today, I want to talk to you about our recruitment services at the Ministry of Social Development and tell you about a few key reasons to use us that you might not already be aware of, and how my role as a work broker supports this. Firstly, there's no charge to use our recruitment service. We work for you. Work brokers like myself help you find the right candidate for your business. We would like to come out and meet you and talk to you about the jobs and the roles that you have, or we can do this over the phone or video call, whatever works best for you. From the conversations we have with you, we will put together a recruitment plan that works best for you. We will list your job on our Find a Job website and promote your role within our teams across the Wellington region to find the best candidate to shortlist. We can search for suitable candidates via our talent pool of over 10,000 job seekers. We can pre-screen to ensure that we're sending you the right candidate for the role. We can also arrange interviews and can provide a space for you to do this in any of our offices if this works better for you than doing it on your own premises. You can get in touch with any of the Workbroker team to discuss your next recruitment needs via our Work and Income website. You can call us on our 0800 number, 0800 778 008, or pop into any of our 8 service centres, or by contacting Jane Fanslow Price on the email slide that we'll have at the end of our presentation. We have a wealth of knowledge of industry requirements, and we look forward to partnering with you for your next round of recruitment. I'm now going to share with you a video of one of our recruitment drives that we have done for New Zealand Bus. So just play that for you now.
Hi, did you know that we have tons of bus driving roles available? If this sounds like something you may be interested in, we're having a Have a Go Day on the 23rd and 24th of August. Please book yourself in at your local service centre. We look forward to seeing you there.
Another key thing I want to mention is how we may be able to help pay for your new employee as they learn on the job. In the current labour market, I know employers are looking at candidates who might not have previous experience for a role or meet all of your prerequisites, but they are keen to learn. We can help pay their wages while they pick up the skills and experience they need in their next role. FlexiWage can offer different things depending on your situation and the person you're looking at hiring. It could be on-the-job training, a formal qualification, or something like mentoring. Or we can use FlexiWage to give you the option to pivot, retrain your current staff for a different role so that you can keep them in work rather than make them redundant or reducing their hours. Once your new staff member starts work, we can also offer ongoing post-placement support and advice to help you manage any challenges that may come up, as we know starting a new job can be a challenge. We want to make sure our candidates successfully transition into your team to build a better future for themselves and their families. Employers I've worked with have said that having this support has helped to take away their stress and thinking about the cost of taking on new employees, giving them the confidence to take that next step to hire. The beauty of FlexiWage is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. We can adapt it to bridge the gap between the person and the job they might not otherwise be able to get. We're able to wrap support around them to help them succeed in their job long-term. FlexiWage has 3 payment bands. 2 bands have set subsidy rates and durations. Please note that the figures displayed are inclusive of GST, so 240 of this 276 is towards the wage of the employee. As you can also see, we have up to $1,000 for short-term training. This is in-house training. This could look different for everybody. It could be a heights and harness course. It could be a barista program. We also have up to $5,000 for NZQA training at a level 3 or below program. The third is discretionary and is for people with more complex needs. So please talk to us about your employment needs and we'll be able to make sure that we can find the right subsidy to suit you and your next staff member. Flexi wage is also paid upfront monthly to you, the employer. We can also support your new employee with the things that they may need to start a job, such as tools, clothing, and travel for work, and if required, if they're needing to relocate for work as well. Another product that we have is FlexiWage Self-Employment. FlexiWage Self-Employment is a competitive grant with limited funding available. There are no guarantees that candidates will be successful. However, we will investigate things such as the viability of the business, the risk to the market, and we'll also investigate if the candidates are disadvantaged in the labour market. If you're wanting to start your own business, we may be able to support you and help with the cost while you get started. This is just another product that we are using to support New Zealanders into work. Apprenticeship Boost has been extended another 17 months and will be available until the end of December 2023. Apprenticeship Boost helps you, the employer, take on an apprentice training under a recognised training apprenticeship program. You'll be able to apply for Apprenticeship Boost via our Work and Income website. Thank you. Back to you, Jane.
Okay. Put my video back on. Thanks, Stacey. Yes, I'm afraid it's me that says we put on our website 276 a week, and it's because it's my private sector and employee background that says actually it's 240 plus GST. So when you send us an invoice each week for that person, it would be 240 plus GST or whatever we arrange. And as Stacey said, we can go above that, and it depends on the needs of the individual that you're taking on and how we can best support you retain that person in longer term work. One of the positive things about COVID, if there is a positive about COVID, is that it's actually pushed MSD and pushed a lot of organisations, government organisations, to work in a different way. Certainly strengthened relationships across the region, across the community. You know, MSD dropped everything and turned into wage subsidies at one stage. We've been involved in the COVID response support for food, and it has established some very strong relationships in the community, which have and with organisations which have allowed us to actually look at working in slightly different ways. One of the things we've done recently, we've done a program with Fraser Engineering in the Hut, where they had a 12-week work experience program for a number of our candidates. And it allowed them to actually go inside an engineering firm to look at the different roles that are available, to actually experience something that they previously had no knowledge of. As one of the candidates that was successful, and the majority of the people on the program have been employed permanently, one of the people on who's now a permanent employee said to me, you know, honestly, I thought that engineering was all about engines, and that's not a silly assumption, but we don't know what we don't know. And if you've never had anyone who's worked in an engineering firm, then you may not know. I didn't know how many hundred or so trades there are on a building site. You know, the reality is that experience can actually give people, can open doors and actually allow them to set a vision and a goal for themselves that they've never previously imagined. We're working with recruitment agencies in Wellington, and putting our candidates into long-term temporary assignments, which give them work experience, which allow them to actually try something and say, hey, I really enjoy this. This is what I like. And we've gone beyond those practical jobs or those technical jobs as well, to actually say, well, a lot of people whose positions were made redundant as a result of COVID have good organisational skills and good market experience, but the role they were in may no longer exist or may not be coming back soon. So how could we retrain them? And we went into a contract with an organisation called the Learning People, who do online IT training in internationally recognised qualifications. So not NCEA, but things like Prince 2 and project management and all sorts of things in that area. And what the Learning People did was actually pre-interview the candidates we put forward, talk to them about where their level of interest and where their skill set might fit. They didn't accept everybody, and we don't expect employers to accept everybody we might forward, or training organisations, but they took the people that were really keen and interested, and as a result of that, well over 50%, and the program hasn't finished yet, but well over 50% of them now have permanent employment. And the lowest salary that they've gone to is 70,000 per annum. So effectively, they've gone from a job seeker payment, which is for $5 or $6 an hour, to $35 an hour minimum. So it's absolutely changed lives and changed the future. They've gone to sustainable employment. We fully expect that there'll be another 10 or 11 out of that group who will be going into permanent jobs as well. And these are people that would never formerly have considered an IT career. So sometimes it's about opening the doors. And as employers, what you can do is help open doors to people, to show them opportunities that they have never previously considered or known about. So the good thing about an organisation like the Learning People and the organisations we work for, that they had one-to-one training, and then they've had a recruiter actually working with them to help them find them the job. It isn't just a job, it is somewhere they'll thrive rather than survive. So the IT program has perhaps begun to dispel some thoughts people may have about anybody who's on a benefit is actually not employable, because it is absolutely not the case. And there is potential there that is untapped, really. So one of the things that we can do in partnership with organisations is identify people who have yet to show what they're capable of. Looking at the numbers a little bit, it's interesting to note that 68% of our job seekers, that's 68% of those 15,000 people, have been unemployed for less than 4 years. And 49%, nearly half of them, for less than 2 years. So they are the COVID flow on. 42% identify as Māori or Pacifica, which is why we're putting some effort into working with the iwi and with Pacific communities to actually look at different ways of training, and we have expanding that IT program. We're working with both iwi and Pacific communities, looking at training younger Pacifica and Māori into the IT industry, but we're doing it as a group training because it will be more effective, we believe. And talking about age, looking at our 15,000 people again, 63% of them are under 44, so they have at least another 20 years of work ahead of them. 46%, again, nearly half, are under 34. So we are talking people who don't just need a job. We're looking for an opportunity to provide them with learning and the chance to gain sustainable employment, which is going to support their family and change the lives of their children and siblings and everybody in their community. So thank you so much for joining us. We're happy to answer any questions you may have. And I think, Tela, you're having a look at anyone who's got any questions for us.
Yep, I sure am. Thank you, Jane and Stacey, for your time today. It's especially nice to share MSD's sort of way that they're trying to do things now. So employers out there, MSD is not just about benefits. They also offer support to employers or any potential startup businesses that are looking for staff. MSD are doing a lot with their candidate pool. So we do just have a few questions here. The first one would be, if I'm an employer, what are ways I can reach out to MSD to start that relationship with MSD?
Okay, if you're an employer, I mean, you have the option of either going into one of our service centres. As I said, we have 8 across the region. That may be the easiest. I know that it's not always easy to ring an 0800 number and it tells you you've got time to wait, but we have an employer line as well. You're welcome to ring that. That will go through to Job Connect, which is in our contact centre, and they can send you through, get a work broker to contact you if you want to be visited. I've actually shared my email address, and we can put that online, and you're welcome to actually email me and I'll put it in the right direction, you know, to actually help if it's about discussing maybe an opportunity to do like a bulk work experience with a number of people, then, you know, I'll come out and talk to you about it. If it's about a single bit of employment, I'll pass it to one of the work brokers who works in that area, because our work brokers tend to specialise in a particular field, so they gain as much knowledge as possible. But you know, any of those ways, basically.
Thank you, Jane. And everyone that's attending, you can see Stacey has just posted Jane's email address on the chat, so feel free to take that and save it, and send your emails away, especially anyone else who watches the recording afterwards.
Am I expecting thousands of emails?
Well, hopefully that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
Jane,
I'll be passing them out. I've learned how to delegate.
Nice.
I've got a question, Tilly, that's come through, and it's more for Stacey. It's the flexi wage. It's flexi wage. What is the flexi wage eligibility, and is it available for part-time work? I think you touched on that a little bit earlier, but I think probably the main aspect might be, is it available for part-time, employing people for part-time work opportunities?
Thanks, Janine. Yep, so FlexiWage is open to both beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries. The eligibility criteria for this is we are looking at people who are disadvantaged in the labour market. So we'll have that conversation with the person and test them, but absolutely we can do FlexiWage for both full-time roles and part-time roles.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Stacey. Another question would be, is there an easy way for businesses to keep updated on available products from MSD?
Yes, there is. I think we've actually, apart from the fact that the MSD website will have everything up online, we're actually starting up in the region a newsletter, I guess, that is going out to clients that are, to employers that are interested, to update them on both programs we have finishing. I mean, you know, when, for instance, we've got LSV, or Limited Service Volunteer Course, which is a training program we run for, which is in partnership with the Army for 18 to 24-year-olds. They go in for 6 weeks. And when that course finishes, we really want employers involved with us at the end of the program to take people directly into work, because by the time they get to the end of the program, we have some very keen people who are used to getting up at 6 in the morning. So it's the time to grab them ready for work. So yes, if email me an address and I will make sure that you're included in any information we send out about our from our newsletter.
Thank you, Jane. So just for our employers out there who are watching, yeah, the MSD will have clients who are definitely work ready and pumped and ready to go. So it would be good if you could try plug in with that. I've just got another question for the flexi wage self-employment. I do notice it requires a bit of planning. Say I'm someone who's potentially wanting to start a business, and I'm relying on the benefit at the moment. If my business plan's not quite up to date, is there any sort of help that I'll get when I try and apply for that?
Absolutely. Stacey's not on screen at the moment.
Oh,
but
sorry, I've lost my background. I don't know what's
That's
going
all
on with technical issues. So when you apply for FlexiWage, the first initial step is that you're actually invited to come through to what we call an information session. So when you come to that information session, we will talk you through the entire process that happens when we go through FlexiWage self-employment. And part of that is, of course, that support and resources available to assist you with making sure that your business plan is up to the standard that we're looking for. And if it's not, we're able to point you in those sorts of directions in terms of how we can support you to get your plan to that point where it is obviously going to be very competitive for us and where we can look at taking that further. We also put all participants that are successful through a 2-week business program course as well. So we definitely support those that aren't quite at that standard. However, we do also have other options available to us to ensure that we can upskill you to be at that criteria as well.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Jane. This will be our last question. This is around the FlexiWage again, but sort of touching and going further on what Janine had asked. If I'm an employer and I have a lot of part-time staff, and I've found that I've taken on clients from LSV, but I could only offer them part-time, which means they're still a bit dependent on the benefit, but I really want to help them move into full-time. But I can't afford that. Is there a way an employer can utilize the FlexiWage product to support them into full-time rather than part-time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the key thing with FlexiWage to keep in mind is that it's called FlexiWage. We are flexible with how we utilize that. We're open to being creative with the use of that as well. And the best thing that we can actually do is have an employer reach out to us and give us the opportunity to explore different options in terms of how we can support them. Because obviously at the end of the day, just like the employer, we're wanting our people to be successful in employment as well. So we're more than happy to be creative with FlexiWage and look at different ideas and options to be able to support people into sustainable employment.
Certainly what we've done when we've looked at that program I talked about with Fraser Engineering, for instance, we've looked beyond the standard amount per week and said, well, you know, what's the real investment, appropriate investment for this? Because at the end of the day, if you get put 10 people in and 7 or 8 of them go permanently into work, there's a cost saving. And I mean, as I said, I come from the private sector, so I look at what's their return on investment and is it going to be worthwhile long term? And absolutely it is. So yeah, we take a very pragmatic approach to how we can support employers.
Thank you for the answers, Jane and Stacey. I guess they'll wrap up our Q&A session. Thank you for your time. Joining us and helping get out what MSD is trying to, what MSD does, not only for people who are on the benefit, but for our employers and other organizations that are helping. So it's great to get that light on there. Remember, everyone, just follow the email. There's an email address in the chat if you want to start that relationship with MSD or find out more. You can email Jane. Also go into any of your service centres if you want access to the workbrokers. Remember, that's a free service, working with workbrokers. So definitely utilise that for your businesses. I'll probably hand this over to Angela now, just to close us off. But thank you once again, Jane and Stacey.
Yeah, thanks, Jane and Stacey.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jane, Stacey, and the Ministry of Social Development for joining us. It really is a big ecosystem that we surround our business community with, and it's been a pleasure to be able to bring you guys on board today, just to share that, I guess you said it earlier, Jane, that MSD is synonymous with beneficiaries, but actually it's so much more than that, and what we're there to do to support. If you are not quite ready to take those steps, and then you remember that you participated in this conference and you forget where to go, remember one place, which is Connected. So Connected works very, very closely with the Ministry of Social Development and other government agencies. So you've got 4 Connected hubs that are available to you in the Greater Wellington region. So the details are on screen. You can come back and watch this recording anytime to grab those details. And while you can, grab those details for Jane out of the chat. Just to recap on why Digital Boost is here, is we are here to help small business of New Zealand as well. Again, like I said, this is a big ecosystem. We've got all sorts of different facets of getting businesses up and running, people thinking about going into business. What we do is we like to help start that digital transformation. So we have a free learning platform that is available for you to use. Within that platform is a diagnostic tool called Checkable. If I can encourage you to do anything, is run your website through Checkable if you have one, and that will give you an assessment of your digital footprint and next steps to help you keep going on that digital transformation journey. That does wrap up our session for this afternoon with the Ministry of Social Development. So thank you to those who have joined us via live stream, and thank you to those who have attended our webinar. And again, special thanks to my collaborating partners from Connected, Tele and Janine, and to Jane and Stacey from the Ministry of Social Development for being here. It's been wonderful to have you.
Pleasure.
Wishing you all the best for the rest of the afternoon, and we do have more sessions if you would like to join us. We're joined next by New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, for those of you who are looking to start an export business. Or this afternoon we've got Business Wairarapa joining us to talk about their products and services for the Wairarapa region.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much, team. Have a
Thank
lovely afternoon.
Thank
Bye.
you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.